Now.
Hey, what's up, friends? This is Rick Backus. We are cruising around the Sydney Harbor at present. I'm here with Bruce Willis from, was it Moby? We were trying to decide. Darren, I was asking what celebrity you look like, and who would you say you look like?
Well, I prefer it when people say Bruce Willis. There's a great shot of him in a tux at one of the Academy Awards nights, but I tend to get Carrie's best friend from Sex and the City, which is a less favourite.
You decide. Alright, so Darren, how do you say your last name?
Jahn.
Jahn, which is German.
German.
And you have a job that I'm envious of because you get to eat and drink for a living like we do. But we're having a look at some wines from Mudgee, which is a region not too far, about 3 or 4 hours from Sydney. And I want to talk a little bit about the wines from this region. How would you describe Mudgee wines characteristically?
Well, Mudgee is, as you say, it's a three and a half hour drive out of Sydney City, so it's too far to get you on your trip. So unfortunately we didn't have time, so we've been able to host you here on the harbour, which I think is the next best thing to visiting Mudgee. We're a fairway inland and relatively high altitude, so we get this combination of warm climate, which gives us pretty rich, robust reds, full-bodied whites. But we've actually got a relatively high altitude, which gives us cooler nights and lengthens the ripening period. And in some of the higher altitude vineyard sites in particular, we get some really lovely, fine, lovely, dry, finesse, pretty whites, and some wines with tang and character, which I like.
Well, the wines that we looked at today, we looked at some Cabernet, Shiraz, Chardonnay do well, but you pulled out some Italian varietals I think are kind of interesting. Like we have a Rosé of Sangiovese from the Mudgee as well. The Italian Barbera, we've got a Barbera that you poured, was amazing.
Well, the region has a great history with the Italian varietals. In particular, there's a guy called Carlo Carino, who was the first full-time winemaker at Montrose, this winery here. And he, almost 40 years ago, planted Australia's first Barbera, Sangiovese and Nebbiolo vineyards out there at Mudgee. So those 3 varieties have a long history in the region, and more recently, varietals like Pinot Grigio, Vermentino, and all sorts of other Mediterranean varietals are planted out there. And there's some wineries like Delusso we tried today that specialise in those alternatives, or as we like to call them, the exotics. And at Oatley we make a Barbera and Sangiovese under the Montrose label, and then we make this terrific rosé under the Robert Oatley label, which we ship to the USA.
And when you think about food, I'm all about getting readers and viewers to understand how wine goes in food, and it seems Mother Nature gives us this beautiful pairing. When you have the wines that grow in that region, the food goes well. What is Mudgee really known for?
Well, Mudgee's full-bodied reds, without question. And,
food.
And food-wise, I think that my favourite thing you can find out in Mudgee is its free-range pork. There's a producer called Ormiston.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, most spectacular pork, and it's specialist stuff, and it's not the it's more expensive than the standard pork you get at the supermarket, but by golly, it's good, and it's brilliant with our Shiraz. Mudgee Shiraz has got fairly firm tannin structure, nice bright acidity, it's crisp and it's clean, and it cuts through the fat of the pork. To me, that's the ideal pairing.
And if I understand right, lamb also does pretty well up there?
Lamb and beef, yeah. The Oatley family who I work with run a couple thousand head of Charolais cattle out there on any land that's not good for grapevines, and beautiful beef. Most of that gets exported to Japan for fairly high prices. And again, the Cabernet out there at Mudgee goes well with beef. There's a really terrific yabby producer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with yabbies.
Nope.
They're a freshwater crayfish, small, about the size of a prawn or a shrimp, and freshwater crayfish. And there's a yabby farm out there that is brilliant with something like this rosé or the lighter, brighter whites as well.
Cool. Well, I'm actually going to post a couple reviews of wines that we tried, and you can see them below in this blog post. But Darren, I want to thank you for sharing the wines and hanging out.
My pleasure. Lovely to have you here.
Cheers, mate.
Ching ching.